This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Amagi, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Let's go, Squirrel, what we got, man? Hey, 1, 2, 3!
And here's a pick. The Texans have the rock. Here comes pressure. He's going to go down. Touchdown, Houston. Rock and roll.
Hello there, friends, and welcome into Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Dougherty. I'm your host, and I've got two of my good friends with me because, wow, this is a massive one to discuss. Deepi, Sidhu, Marc, Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans, and just do it all here for the team as well. You guys doing okay? Y'all ready?
Ready.
So ready. I don't think I've ever been on with Marc before.
What? We've never done this?
Zillions of times.
Have we?
Three amigos.
Yeah.
We've definitely done this.
Excited.
And today on this show, this is what we're going to do. We are fixing the run game, which has taken a little bit of a dip the last 2 weeks. Plus, we've got an over-under defensively and Texans to watch, and we always wrap things up with keys to a victory. But back to the offense, friends. I'm going to start with you, Deepi. What's one thing the Texans could do to spark a W on Sunday against the Browns? One thing.
I like it when Dameon Pierce has a nice, long 75-yard run. I think one big chunk play early in the game, especially from one guy like that really gets the offense juiced up. I think that would sort of get things turned in the right direction and do it early. It'd be nice to score before halftime.
An early big play. I like that. How about you, Marc?
Yeah, I could see that in the passing game as well, but I'm going to say the offensive line eating their Wheaties that morning and really getting out after it, getting the ground game cranked up again in general. That's really going to help against these Browns.
All right, so let's say they have eaten their Wheaties and they do get the run game going. Why is it going to get going? Why is it going to succeed? We heard Lovie Smith say, hey, it starts up front, but how does it start up front? What do you see?
Well, it's not just technique. Lovie Smith himself said want to. They got to get fired up for this one. And despite the fact that you're 1-9-1, the season, it's not going anywhere you want it to go, a lot of national attention on this game. So I think that's a big wake-up call for everybody. Not that they were sleeping, but that gives everybody a little extra juice coming into the building on Sunday, and away we go. Get the ground game going. It's the surefire way, the best way to get the offense going overall.
Yeah, it's been so weird to see the last 2 weeks after what we saw through the first big chunk of the season from Pierce, hasn't it?
Yeah, we talked so much about what's the over-under on number of carries for Pierce. Should it be more than 25? Should it be less than 25? How about just getting in the double digits again for the last few weeks? 8 carries apiece. I think a recommitment to the run would be nice, something that we want to see, because when he's running the ball, even if it's not always successful, I think the more times he has a chance to have the ball in his hands, the better opportunity you have for him to make some big plays.
But in order to make that happen, they got to convert third downs, because you can't get the multitude of carries that you want to see with Dameon Pierce unless you're converting on third down. And you can't convert on third down unless you do well on first and second. Overall, you're not going to convert too many third and longs, third and double digits. So let's see if they can lessen the distance on those third down possibilities and let Kyle Allen and the receivers eat a little bit.
Let's take Pierce out of the equation, sticking with a young player. Doesn't have to be a rookie, but a very young player. Say rookie, first, second-year player. Who's got to really step up and play better this week, Marc?
Ooh, I like Nico Collins in this one, because one thing you saw in the second half against the Dolphins, I love that crosser stuff. I love the stuff taking him across the middle, because I think it's an easy throw for the quarterback to make. Nico's got a wide range, good pass catch radius, so take advantage of that. Let Kyle Allen find the big guy over the middle. Nico has the height, he's got the hands. Use him early, use him often.
That's a good one. How about you, Deepi?
Oh, I'm going to go Kenyon Green.
Okay.
I think he's really struggled in the last few weeks, and I think this Cleveland Browns defense, while it's really strong on the edges, maybe the interior is a little bit less strong than what we've seen in the last few weeks. But I think just getting him going, he's really good against the run when his technique is there, and I think he needs to build that confidence back up. So I think if he's playing well, it just bodes well for the offense as a whole. So
okay, we go now to our guy John Harris. He's got the telestrator, and he's looking back at a couple of impressive touchdowns that Jordan Akins and Dare Ogunbowale scored in Miami.
Throughout the season, it's been Dameon Pierce toting the rock almost 100% of the time. But Dare Ogunbowale showed up on Sunday against the Miami Dolphins with some great runs, including this one down on the goal line, and there's one other aspect of this run that really shows where Jordan Akins has come from the time he got here to where he is now, is just recognizing defenses and knowing which guy to block. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Texans are going to run what's called GH counter. So they're going to pull A.J. Can right here. He's going to pull, and he's kicking out. That's the key block. Got to kick out the edge. And then Jordan's going to follow, and his responsibility is to turn up and take the most dangerous player. On this play, though, the most dangerous player changes. It looks like it's going to be Eric Rowe at first, but then another player comes into the fray, and Jordan's got to make that last-second change. And when he does, Dougherty then reads the block, gets behind him, and gets in the end zone. So take a look here. You'll see here's the backer. It's supposed to be Eric Rowe, but this backer screams inside. And as he does that, Akins has got to change. Okay, that guy became most dangerous. I got to block him. And then Dougherty cuts inside that block. Nice cut by Dougherty. And that's 6 points. Let's take a look at the end zone view. You're going to get a great look at it. Now, down block to everybody here on the counter. Kick AJ. Come around with Akins. And then Landon Roberts is going to come there looking for a collision. He gets it with Jordan. And then Dougherty's going to go, boom, right inside that. Makes a nice cut. Good vision right there, because it looks like they've got this play. But because Akins gets to Roberts, he's able to make that cut. Man, that's a really good cut. He goes in relatively untouched. That's the way the run game is supposed to look. Blocked up well. Great vision and cut by Dougherty. Now if you got Dougherty and Damian doing it together, well, that run game can be something else.
1st and goal from the 3. Allen under center. Dougherty in the backfield. They feed him. Running left. Takes it to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Houston. Dougherty Agunbowale, 3-yard TD run.
Man, Jordan Akins has made a lot of plays for the Texans. I think we're about to see his best one. And it's a heck of a job of Kyle Allen staying in the pocket and finding Akins, waiting to the last possible second, taking a hit, delivering a good ball that Akins could then catch, and then turn into some magic. Let's take a look here. Akins is going to start here, but he's going to motion across, essentially setting up a condensed 2x2. So you got 2 receivers over here and 2 over here, and we're going to focus over on this side, over on this left side, where Akins ends up motioning to. Dolphins are going to get some pressure, mainly from right here. That's Justin Zimmer right there, who was just called up, and he's going to get into Kyle Allen's face. And if you watch the quarterback here first, Kyle's throwing his ball under duress, which he did all day. But there's Zimmer, gets a shot on Kyle. But Kyle is able to deliver to Akins out here because Landon Roberts anticipates Akins from that set to go up the field. So whether Akins read this or it was designed, either way, great decision to have him essentially run a circle route. He's running essentially a running back route. So Roberts goes over the top. That leaves him vulnerable to this route. Akins then going to catch it, and then Roberts is not going to be able to get there. Roberts is a hitter, not a runner. And then Ake right there makes him miss, and boom, look at this. Angry runs right there. Look at that. That's at the 6-yard line. And then he just carries Javon Holland into the end zone. Get off me. Touchdown. Man, I want to see that again. Let's run this back. I want to see this again. Watch Jordan Akins get out to the flat, little Texas circle route, reads Roberts off of him. He's then going to shake Roberts, shake him, bang. Touchdown, Jordan Akins. Seen 88 do a lot of things here in Houston in his 5 years. That was one of the best ones right there against the Dolphins for that touchdown.
The snap to Kyle Allen, looking, passing underneath, hits Akins, 15, 10, 5, takes on a defender to the goal line. Jordan Akins, touchdown! A hard-hitting run by the tight end.
There's a flag down. Brian Cushing has his helmet off. He's bleeding a lot.
I look like a psycho. I'm just gonna keep my helmet on for the rest of the game.
You need to put like a beanie or something.
Yeah, I'm the smart guy that headbutts someone with no helmet on.
The bloody face of Brian Cushing. He signed a zillion of those pictures that happened against the Browns back in 2011. That's not the only crazy thing that's happened against those guys, is it, Deepi and Marc?
No, actually, when we went up to Cleveland, Brian Cushing was drinking the melted snow water from the rafters, which was also pretty disgusting.
Yeah, it's weird because Brian Cushing, leading tackler all time in Texans history, had that where he took his helmet off and headbutted a guy, and also had drinking melting snow water. But, you know, it all worked out for him, didn't it?
Yeah, and Brian, if you're watching, we miss you. Hope you're doing great. But
intense, iconic moment.
Oh, totally iconic moment. Fun moment. All right, let's talk about takeaways. We do this frequently on this program. Over under 1.5 takeaways. That's what the Texans are going to get. Over or under that number? I'll start with you, against the Browns.
Boy, you're really putting us on the spot here, Drew. I'll be optimistic, and I'm going to say over.
Okay.
I would actually have guessed 1, but I feel like things have got to change for the better. So they're going to need to get some takeaways in this game. And I think the defense is hungry, and they do come in bunches, so let's hope that means multiple against the Browns.
Well, you know I'm the Norman Vincent Peale of sports broadcasting, right?
Time out. You got to explain that to the young
power
folks.
Of positive thinking. He wrote it, the greatest book ever, non-certain historic books. Okay, I think it's over because I think Watson's going to give one up for sure through the air, right? He hasn't played in 2 years, 700 days, whatever it is. There's going to be a pick to be had, and then you get another one. So you get 2. But they got to play clean. You know this. You're Mr. Turnover Differential.
I am.
You cannot cough up the hog skin on Sunday. You've got to hang on to the ball. You're going to get 2. Maybe that can help you get a victory.
Now, it's hard to see positives when you're 1-9-1, but over the last 2 weeks, have we seen this run defense improve, the Texans' run defense improve, Marc?
Yeah, I think so. And against Miami, look, they're challenged to run it anyway. I think they did a little bit better in that category. Also, the Dolphins, when you look at some of the yardage totals, in the second half, why weren't they running the ball more? They were trying to throw it. They went 3 and out, Texans getting the ball back. That enabled them to come back and give you some hope there toward the end of the game. All that aside, now you have to deal with Nick Chubb. He's one of the best backs in the league. This could be, if they're not on their game, this could get ugly again, and you don't want to have that happen. But the Texans defenders know it. They don't want to get embarrassed. They don't want to give it up on the ground. They're going to put their best foot forward.
Ugliness has happened on the ground against this Texans team this year, against this Browns team from the Texans in years past. How do they kind of keep what they've been doing the last 2 weeks rolling, Deepi?
The Browns, I think it's got to start with Nick Chubb. What's weird about this Browns team is that when you look at offensive numbers, they're like in the top 5 rushing yards, passing yards. They do everything right, but then special teams and defense is where they've really struggled this year. So, I expect even with Deshaun Watson under center, they're going to run the ball a bunch. That's what they do well. They've got good receivers, obviously, and, I think Deshaun Watson's first game back, they're not going to veer too far off of it. You may see a little bit more scrambling from him as well, but I think it's going to start with Nick Chubb, and we've seen that in the past with them. That's what they like to do. That's the bread and butter of their offense.
Yeah, Jalen Pitre, back on the Texans side of things, he's brought the lumber a few different times over the last few weeks. It looks like he's kind of rounding into form. We're seeing more of what we saw from him in college, isn't it?
I haven't talked to Jalen about this, but the feeling I had is that the rookie wall, maybe that's putting up too much there, but I thought that things were sort of slowing down in the production department, maybe for the entire defense, but he wasn't as noticeable out there making plays. Man, against the Dolphins, he's flying around, hitting people, had the pick that was called back, but I believe that Petre's just smashed through that wall. He's good to go. He's going to make plays against the Cleveland Browns. And like I said, that ball's going to be in the air at times. They want to run it, but at times, and you got to take advantage.
Indeed. Okay, and now it's time for some Texans trivia before we head to break. The Texans and Browns have played each other 12 times. How many of those contests were one-score games? We'll have that answer later on in the show.
Mallett throws left side of the end zone. Watts, J.J. Watt. Touchdown! J.J. Watt with a great catch left side of the end zone.
How about that? Who would have guessed that Ryan Mallett would throw a touchdown pass to J.J. Watt? That went down in 2014 when the Texans played the Browns. They were victorious that day. Drew Dougherty, Deepi Sidhu, Marc Vandermeer. We're going to get into some Browns trivia a little bit later on, but let's talk about the guy who's coming back, Deshaun Watson. Rust has been a word that's been brought up with Deshaun. So on the scale of rustiness, with the very rustiest place being a swing set from 1982 that's been in Galveston for the last 40 years, all the way over to, let's say, since we're in the Ford studios, a 2020 Ford F-150. How rusty is Deshaun Watson going to be in that scale there?
He's probably like a 2002 bicycle that's been kept up pretty well. Look, I think the rust is going to be in some of the execution and timing, things like that. Physically, he's got to be as healthy as he's ever been, right? And we've seen him play here, hurt, and play well, right? 2018 comes to mind where he had the punctured lung and took the bus to Jacksonville. He's capable of gutting it out, but I think he's going to be perfectly healthy, but the timing could be thrown off, and it's up to that front four of Lovie Smith's defense to get after it, and I hate to say force him out of the pocket because you know what he can do then, but make life difficult for him in the pocket. Try to keep the contain.
And you bring up a good point, and I know you both know this, but just to be clear, he's been practicing with the Browns. He's been splitting first-team reps for a while now. So he's not just getting thrown into the Wolves or thrown into the fray this week. So where you see him on the rusty scale as far as how things shake out this week?
I mean, I just think about our players every year in the preseason. They talk about getting that first hit out of the way and how, I mean, that's just a regular offseason, and he's had 2 of them. He's had 2 complete seasons to sit and just collect rust. So I imagine it is going to be a lot of rust, and I think a lot of it's going to be, like Marc said, the timing, but also just getting that first hit out of the way. Like, you know, are you going to be able to put pressure on him because he's going to be anxious to get rid of the ball? Is his timing going to be off? Is he going to feel rusty? You know, just getting out there and playing football. I don't know how, maybe it doesn't last long. Maybe it only lasts a series. Maybe it lasts a quarter. I think that's the big question on everyone's mind. He is going to be rusty, but when will the rust start to come off throughout the game? And
a lot of stuff that's going to help him out is, we brought up Chubb earlier. He's also got Amari Cooper. That guy's amazing. And then he has a good tight end in David Njoku. He has weapons that are really going to help him out here. He's not just getting pushed out there with, you know, empty pockets.
Yeah, and I think it all starts with Chubb. Because if you're running the ball, look, this is Stefanski, right? And he's got a sort of Kubiakin way about him, right? He worked with Gary Kubiak in Minnesota, so you're going to see some bootlegs and things like that. Watson on a bootleg, if you're running the ball well, you stay front side with the ground game and he spins out. And he's got all day, all sorts of real estate to read or run or do whatever he wants to do. That's going to be tough. That's why the most important thing here is to try to stop that run. But you know, Watson can make plays all day long by himself. He can run it himself. I like what you said about the first hit. I think that's going to be really interesting to see how these guys get after it against him. But look, it's Deshaun Watson. He's a really excellent quarterback, but it's been a long time, and that's got to be a factor.
And then on the other side of things, Myles Garrett, about as good as they get on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive end. Played in college for a little bit with Kyle Allen at Texas A&M, and Kyle Allen kind of jokingly said, hope he takes it easy on me this week, but Garrett's also got Jadeveon Clowney to help him out.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett's got 10 sacks, and he was in a car wreck this year, too. Was banged up. He is a little bit banged up still, so I don't know if he's going to be at full strength, but even 80% Myles Garrett is fantastic. And Jadeveon Clowney, not a lot of sack production, but he sure is disruptive when he gets in the backfield. You cannot let him get behind the offensive line. Absolutely not.
Amen to that. Okay, time for Texans to watch. Who you got your eye on?
Oh, man, there's so many guys. You know, I think I'm going to stick with Nico here. I want to go with Nico Collins. I really think that this is a player, we talk about the first and second year guys. This is a player who's kind of performed well all the way through it. Not high volume catches necessarily, but it feels like every game he's making a big play or two, and he needs to show up in this one, and it's not all up to him, all right? In a big, big way. You got to find a way to, I think, get a lot of catches in this game. Keep moving the sticks, keep the ground game going. Stay with balance between the pass and the run, and Nico's a big part of it.
He's got one more catch than he did for all of last year through 9 games, and much more, or the same amount of yardage. So he's already equaled what he did last year. Who are you up to this week?
I'm going to go defense. I'm going to go Jerry Hughes. I think you got to just make life super uncomfortable for Deshaun Watson. In that wild card game against Buffalo, we saw what Jerry Hughes did to Deshaun Watson then. He had 3 sacks in that game. So I want to see that Jerry Hughes against this Deshaun Watson, and he's having himself such a great season. So I just want to see those sack numbers go up for Jerry Hughes.
Well, here's another one. Kyle Allen has faced Deshaun Watson once. What's his record? 1-0.
That's right, against the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers beat the Texans, and Allen was the starter.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Jalen Pitre. Let's get a pick. Hold on to it. Pop somebody good. Let's change the game with a big, big play or two. All right, we'll be right back with more Texans Extra Points.
Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
We're back. Appreciate you sticking with us. Texans Extra Points rolls on, and earlier we asked you, the Texans and Browns have played 12 times. How many of those 12 contests were one-score games?
I feel like in recent history, they've all been one-score games, so I'm going to go 7.
Okay.
I'm going to go 6 because no.
Wrong. Both of you. Texans have won 7 of these 12, but only 4 games in the entire dozen have been one score.
Oh.
And think about this. They played 5 times in between 08 and 18. Texans won every one of those by double digits. So with all that in mind, it doesn't have anything to do with keys to a win over the Browns on Sunday. But nevertheless, what are your 2 keys, Marc Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans?
I've got to have 2 keys? All
Always.
right. I'm going to go Frank Ross here. Special teams coming up with a big play. You need to get the ball out. You need a big return. You need a big play with that third phase. Got to get going there. Got to get something free, something cheap as far as the opponent goes. You're going to work for it if you're Frank Ross's special teams unit. So let's see something happen there. Big play on special teams would be one. Another one would be, you mentioned pressuring Deshaun Watson. That's good. But I got to slow down Nick Chubb. Look, Nick Chubb can get 100, can get 90, but it's got to be the right kind as far as the Texans cause, where you're playing well on third down D. The yards are kind of carbohydrates instead of protein, and it looks good on the stat sheet, but you were able to slow them down in the red zone where it really matters most. And they've done that a number of times. Get the offense going.
Good stuff. All right, you?
I mean, I think the obvious one is to get the run game going. I think it's going to cure a lot of problems that this offense is seeing. Obviously, you stay on the field longer, and I think the longer that you keep Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb off the field, the better it is for you. So get the run game going and score early. Like, let's not wait until after halftime to score, please, because it really does give us a heart attack. Score early and get the run game going. I'm going to go all offense.
I love them. 3 big plays on offense from me, and then on defense, get Deshaun to walk himself into 3 or 4 sacks. Make him hold the ball. Hey, we want to remind you, it's My Cause, My Cleats. It's a fun weekend, and it's also the final show for our producer, our director, Tyler Marcotte. We're going to miss you, buddy. He's been with us since 2018. He's done a sterling job, not just on this show, but all across the board here. I know I speak for Deepi and Marc. We will miss you, and best of luck, my friend. This has been Texans Extra Points.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.